Greetings. So today I learned that there's a new No Kings event being planned for a couple weeks, and I'm hoping that this one is going to be focused, on probably the Iran war. Of course, it'll be focused on Trump a lot, and it won't mention any other real players, so it won't really deal with the kind of pre-Trump plans for a greater Israel project and how Bibi Netanyahu has been doing this false thing where Iran is only 2 weeks away from a nuclear weapon since the 80s, since the 1980s, I think. He was on TV saying Iran is only 2 weeks away from developing a nuclear weapon. Can you imagine letting a madman, crazy man have a nuclear weapon? That's been his line for years. For years. Okay? Um, anyway, so I don't know that the No Kings people, so far, what I've seen from the people and their messaging and what they do at No Kings, they're unfortunately unable to deal with the kind of nuance of what's really going on. And they don't even express a desire to kind of deal with real power. What's really going on right now, they don't seem to want to do that. They can't mention the CIA or the state of Israel, Zion, the greater, sort of Zion, greater Israel project. They never get there. They don't ever seem to deal with the Department of Homeland Security. So they have a big symbolic tit for tat with a Trump appointed Kristi Noem. And they think that's where it ends. They're done. They've had a focus. They've had this celebrity tit for tat with Kristi Noem. Got a lot of press. It's very personal and kind of gratifying in some way. It's like watching teens slap each other or something. Watching the repugs, and their stupid appointees fight with the CIA-driven corporate Dems in our CIA-controlled media. That's what you kind of see, and it can be satisfying. It kind of feels good, like, oh my God, real power's taken down, Kristi Noem. But see, Kristi Noem is not really real power. She's a symbolic tart with a bad lip job, right? She's not real power. Pam Bondi, even though very disgusting, was an attorney general of Florida. She's not real power. She's adjacent to real power. She's playing a role in what's really happening. But she's not the real deal. Obviously, Trump is not in control of what is happening in the Middle East. He is being played by older, more powerful forces that are bringing us into war with Iran for their benefit. But see, the No Kings people can't see that. Their analysis can't go there. They want to focus on Trump. They're hyper focused on Trump. The original No Kings movements, of course, were funded by Arabella Advisors, which has very close ties to the CIA. So this whole No Kings movement is, in fact, faux opposition. It's not real opposition. It's faux opposition to a faux leader, right? And I guess that's the message of the times right now, is that everything is kind of fake. People that are saying we have to bomb the crap out of the Palestinians for the Jews, well, they're not real Jews, turns out, right? And people that are conservatives that said they were America first, well, gosh darn it, they're not America first. They're totally undermined by Israel. So all these Marco Rubio and uh, Lindsey Graham and all these people, they're all just stooges. They're just toadies of Israel. They're fake, captured people now. They're not real. And Trump himself, I think, had some ideas, things he wanted to do, and then he was just kind of bitch slapped back to nothing. Just walk around with your orange hair and say things that piss off the liberals. That's what you're supposed to do. And just keep doing that. Get back in your lane. You're not going to cause any ceasefire, bro. The ceasefire you said you were going to bring, it didn't happen. You didn't happen. You got slapped back down. We're at continual war. So the interests that are winning are the continual war interest. People that want us to be in a kind of state of continual chaos and confusion, never getting on a good foot so that we could demand real education and peace and harmony with our neighbors and things like that. That's what we want. That's what would be good for us. Instead, we're kept in a kind of a state of perpetual crisis, being led around by faux resistance, faux opposition leaders. Okay? So this No Kings thing, what I say, go into it. Don't just download their stupid flyers off the web and do what they do. They have so much infrastructure all the time. It's such great, so much money, so much great organizing. But they never have a message because they're run by the powers that be. They're not trying to challenge the powers that be. They're trying to corral everybody in and keep and maintain the powers that be. That's what they're about, is maintaining the power structure and maintaining this kind of faux oppositional personality politics, cult of personality politics, where you're focused on a figure like Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump or Kamala Harris or something. One of these kind of just, showy tarts of TV tarts of power, but they're not real power. And real power is Greater Israel, run by fake Jews. Real power is the BlackRock group buying up all of the real estate in America. Most of the rental property in America is now owned by Blackstone and Vanguard and BlackRock. About 3 or 4 international hedge fund managers own most all of the rental property in America. That's a real problem. That's a problem. It's bigger. It transcends Trump. Trump is a temporary, he's a whitehead pimple on the face of the body politic. He's a whitehead that we all want to really pop that whitehead. We can all see that whitehead. Oh my God, that whitehead is just so gross. If I could just pop that whitehead. The thing is, the liver is toxic. The liver is Goldman Sachs. The liver is BlackRock Group. The liver is Raytheon. The liver is Pfizer. The liver is toxified. What the liver is spouting is putting toxic words into the mouth of NPR. And so there's no truth there. There's no analysis of real power or anything that's going on, really. We really need that. We desperately need that. So if you're a leftist, and what some leftists I've noticed have done, rather than they're in this false paradigm. They kind of like, they were just fighting, talking a lot about Trump, like everyone else, and then they realize, I'm kind of starting to feel like I'm kind of sounding kind of stupid. I'm kind of like a broken record. Nothing's really happening here. So then what they tend to do is go back to the past. Oh, now I'm just kind of defeated now. I'm in this loop of defeat and saying Trump, and I'm just defeated because of the Trump voters, I think. I think that's what's defeating me. It's not the CIA. I think it's that all these Trump voters in the middle of the country were deceived. So all these Trump. So in this time, I'm just going to go back and look at Orwell or something. You know what I mean? Orwell would actually be a really good one to go back and look at. But, I'm just going to go back and take on a little project about the labor movement of the 1800s or something like that. And make a lot of really romantic statements about them, kind of contrasting them with Trump, basically, is where their analysis goes. And that's what they're into. They're looking at these things in the past, with nothing that really has an adjacency to now, you know. What has an adjacency to now is the murder of JFK. What has an adjacency to now is the sort of bitch slapping of Carter, kept slapping him back into place. So let's look at times when people were going to make peace and what happened to them. What happened to the peacemakers? What happened to the truth tellers? Where are they? Where are the journalists now? Right? There are some great journalists out there doing some great stuff, taking some huge risk. Unfortunately, you don't ever seem to hear what they say. You fucking answer. You don't ever seem to hear what they say. They don't have any reach now. Abby Martin, Max Blumenthal, Glenn Greenwald. There's a lot, like I said, there's great journalists still doing great stuff out there. Whitney Webb, you know, and these aren't perfect people either. Some of them have flaws, whatever. It doesn't matter. They're putting good content out there. We should be taking that content in, dealing with it, processing it. Instead, we ignore them and go back to the talking points that the CIA has put on NPR about Donald Trump. And that's basically what the No Kings protests are. One big CIA-fed, NPR-fueled CIA talking point about a distracto clown that keeps you from ever confronting real power. So if you're not saying the name of the CIA, other names like that, you're never hitting real power, right? Trump didn't start the war in Iran. That's an important thing to remember. Pete Hegseth is a clown. They're clowns. They're going along to get along sometimes. Sometimes they act like they're going to do their own thing. They never do their own thing if it goes against real power. So we have to confront the CIA. They took over in 1947. Fake Jews took over Israel. When Israel got created, Israel is not the real Israel. We need to start the Israel Project all over again with real, humble people who are Jews and Palestinians and people that lived in that area and are have connections to that area. They want to go back and have a peaceful existence there in a secular democracy that represents and respects all those rights. They can do that, but the Greater Israel Project has to be taken out. It's the Nazi Germany on the planet right now. It is. People were saying, oh, if we let him get away with this, if we let Putin take, Russia, he was basically defending the Russians that the Ukrainian Nazis were killing inside of Ukraine. He was not trying to take more territory. He was trying to basically defend the Crimea, which is Russian, and defend some things. But they don't know. Everybody got all hyped up. Oh no, if we allow him, if we relax on this, he's gonna take Poland, Romania. It's all just gonna fall. They're like dominoes. Well, you know who is that person? Israel. They're not just cleansing Gaza of the people who live there by genocide. They're not just now doing that to the West Bank now. No, they're not satisfied with their own, what they consider to be internal territories. They're moving on Lebanon, man. They're moving on North Egypt. They're moving on. They're bombing the crap out of they're using America to attack Iran. They're not satisfied. Never will be satisfied. That's the bully on the block that we have to address now. That's the source of fake that has to be addressed. And we have to fight. We have to take on the CIA, and we have to love each other as Americans. White males, black females, everybody. Just like in 1968, Fred Hampton. We need to go back more Fred Hampton. All right? Less Rachel Maddow, more Fred Hampton. Rachel Maddow is a divisive tool of the CIA. Fred Hampton was a real person with working class notions trying to unite people across ethnic lines in a real way. So, okay, more Fred Hampton, less Rachel Maddow, okay? Less Joe Biden, less Kamala Harris, less toadies of a murderous Israel state, and more real people, real resistance, right? Less fake Christians, fake Trump, fake people, okay? They're fake. They're not working class people. They're not real. We need real and less fake. All right, good luck out there.